Everywhere you turn, someone is doing something insane with ChatGPT. Whether in legal, healthcare, or starting your own company, AI is changing every industry. But which tier of ChatGPT is right for you? Well, I've tested every tier of ChatGPT, and here's the twist: price doesn't always equal value. In this video, I will show why some users swear by the $200 tier and why others say that the free tier is more than enough. Okay, let's jump in, starting with the free tier. Free sounds basic, right? Well, you would be very surprised by how much you can get done with $0. For most people, the free tier of ChatGPT includes all the tools that they need. Sure, it's not perfect, but for light or casual users, it gets the job done. Okay, let's see what the free version actually offers. So right now, we are looking at the free version of ChatGPT. Best places to go for navigation, you hit here. This is where you can upgrade, and this is where you see your models. So as we upgrade to and show you Plus or Pro, you will see all your models that you can have access to in this section here. You can click on tools, so you can create an image, you can search the web, you can write code, you can run deep research. Note here that you only have 5 opportunities to run a deep research request every single month, and then you can think about it for longer, which means that you're going to do something around reasoning. You do have access to GPTs, which is really cool. These are like custom versions of tasks that have a ton of instruction and extra knowledge. One of the most popular ones here to use is Canva. And then we do have access to Sora. Sora is just an image generator. It's really cool, but we won't focus on that today. Now, the last thing I will mention here is that you can actually go to settings, and you do have a chance to set tasks, and you do have a chance to connect to your Google Drive or your OneDrive. So it does actually have quite a few things that you can do in ChatGPT free tier version. Okay, now let's test out the free version. Let's just say we're gonna get some advice on having a difficult conversation. So this is the cool thing about being able to use a free version of ChatGPT. You get access to someone who has a PhD level of understanding for free. As long as you have connection to the internet, you can run all of these all day, every day. And typically what the AI will do, especially if it's like an open-ended question, it will ask you questions to be able to understand exactly how to answer you the best way. So let's quickly answer this. All right, so basically, long story short, if I had just regular access to the internet, I did not have a ChatGPT account, and I had a hard conversation that I needed to go through with one of my friends, I could come here and get the simple and easy solution from ChatGPT. It will be able to answer any of my relatively surface level or normal questions. It will potentially ask me to understand the question if it doesn't have all the information, and then it will give me some type of template, some type of information, and then if you look at this at the bottom, it would say, do you want me to help create a version that matches your personality or the specific feedback that you want to give? This is why ChatGPT free version, why some people might say this is more than enough. Because for free $99, $0, I got a chance to get my fix on everything that I needed from this supercharged AI tool. So in this example, I think that ChatGPT, the free tier, has showed up pretty well. It seems pretty robust. It can answer our questions with access to image generation, searching the internet. We can do a few deep research calls a month. It seems like in a pretty good shape to me. Now, when would ChatGPT, the free tier, fall short if I want to have more robust opportunities? Let's jump in. The first place where you might have a little bit of friction or you might not have as much firepower is the access to different models. The whole point of AI is having access to models who can think, who can reason, who can give you information at an extremely high level, genius level, PhD level. If you stay on the free tier, you will only have minimal access to some of the best models that ChatGPT has to offer. And as soon as you hit those limits on those models, you will be hitting the mini version version, which is like the 4.0 or the 4.1 mini model, and you can use that in perpetuity or forever. But again, you will not have the best firepower to answer your questions. If we were to put this on a scale of 1 to 10, I would assume this is probably like a 6 out of 10 on the quality of answers that you would be getting with the free version. Number 2 thing where you fall short is on deep research. The whole point of deep research is to be able to go and let your AI go scour the internet and do all this deep analytical search on a specific problem. Now, when you're using the free tier, you can only do that 5 times in a month. As you move up in tiers, you can do that multiple times. And so you can actually start to have a robust research co-pilot or assistant on any task that you have at hand. Number 3 is speed and availability. When you're on the free tier, the speed of the responses that you get will be a little slower because the paid tiers are priority for OpenAI. Now, on the availability piece, if there are a ton of people or many people using ChatGPT all at the same time, that will almost be equivalent to you being rush hour trafficked at any time of day. Traffic will be slow, which means your answers will be slow, or potentially they will ask you to come back later and ask the same question. This could be really tough if you need a question right then and there for something that's important for work or that's important for some type of project. And number 4, early or beta features. When you're on a free tier, you are the last person to get any early features or to get access to anything that's in beta. So that could have been voice mode, that can be a new model. You will get those things last. And again, if you're somebody who wants to have the highest quality of answers or images or anything of that nature, the free tier may not be for you. And here's the thing, if you want to use a free tier, you're not alone. Over 180 million people use ChatGPT every month. Only 17 million of those folks pay for the Plus plan or pay for the Pro plan. So if you're someone who's just exploring AI, you're a part-time creative, you're a part-time student, you're a part-time hobbyist, the free tier probably is the best bang for your time because it doesn't cost any money. But what happens when free is not cutting it anymore? Now, the free plan is pretty robust, no question. But what happens when those limitations or those caps start to hold you back and you start eyeing the $20 a month Plus plan? I will explain why the Plus tier is a smart upgrade for most people. All right, let's jump into what the Plus plan looks like. Now, at the computer right now, what did I say before? You go to this little area right here. This has all your models. If you remember from ChatGPT, the free tier, you could not access or choose any of the models. Now that you have the Plus plan, you have the opportunity to choose from a boatload of models. The 4.0, which is great for multiple tasks. 0.3, which I use a lot, that does really in-depth specific details. 0.4 mini, which is actually what most of ChatGPT free tier uses. And then you even have more models, which is 4.5, which gives you like really deep research, and many of these other ones will help you with coding and other tasks. This alone, I think, is worth upgrading to ChatGPT Plus. Now, let's click on the tools. In the tools, very similar. You can still create an image, you can still search the web, write code, but look at this. When we looked at this on the free tier, you only had 5 deep researches. You now have 25 every single month. So I can run deep research on anything that I want, and I can probably run one almost once every day. So this is a real big breakthrough for me. And then the last thing, I now have access to a code editor. So Codex, which I'm not gonna show today, but that's a really big deal. You can now vibe code your way to creating products using ChatGPT, all of this for $20. And then there's this thing called projects. My opinion, projects right here is pretty important. For example, one thing I do since I'm in the finance and venture capital world, I'm always meeting new people and I wanna get up to speed on who they are before I go to a meeting. So with a project, you can basically create instructions. So I say here, you are a personal research assistant. I have an upcoming meeting with X, Y, and Z person. I need you to concisely give me all the information of like who the heck they are in this very high quality prompt. So basically anytime, and you can add any files and stuff. So you can add, like if I had files on people, I can add that if I needed to. But the other piece here is that I can write anyone's name in here. So I'm gonna actually just research myself. So it is now searching the web, and look at that. I just put Brandon Bryan Harlem Capital because I had those specific details already written for my pre-call research. It gives me a concise biography. It gives me key achievements. Oh, okay, I remember making Forbes 30 under 30. GQ Esquire, I had a blog before. We launched a big fund, all these different things. Ideas, interviews. Oh, it has interviews of me way back in the day. Conversation starters, and it tells me all these things. So basically, projects, in my opinion, is a really big deal because now any repetitive task that you're doing over and over and over again that take potentially a lot of like information and deep research to write a prompt, you can now make that prompt so seamless, and you can just actually go to asking the task instead of having to rewrite the prompt, go back and forth with ChatGPT all the time. And so now this is like your little smart assistant that can do all these mini tasks. And so in here, as you can see, like I have tasks for everything, like intros to my videos. I have ways that I want to write comments on other people's YouTube videos. I want to research people. I want to do timestamps. I have a Spanish tutor in here. I was like, hey, talk to me as if I am X, Y, and Z and I live in this country and I want to learn information. These are all things that are in the Plus plan that you cannot get in the ChatGPT free plan. So when you think about $20, I get access to a coding agent. I get access to more deep research, 5 times the amount of deep research. I now have projects. I now have 6, 7, 8 different models I can choose from. This is kind of a good bang for your buck for $20. You might be thinking, man, that's already quite a bit I will get for upgrading to ChatGPT Plus for $20 a month. But wait, there is more. So when you upgrade to ChatGPT Plus, you now have access to all the models, which we saw, and you have almost unlimited access to a majority of the models, much higher usage limits than you do on the free plan. And remember I talked about speed and availability before? When you're on the Plus plan, you have very fast answers. You have priority on all your answers, and when there are peak times, congestion, if you will, of many people using ChatGPT, they will prioritize your answers over everyone else. The other things here, as I mentioned with deep research, you get 25 opportunities of deep research on ChatGPT Plus versus the 5 opportunities you'll have every month on the free tier. Also, remember I talked about early access or beta features that you do not get in a free tier. You will get all of those in the Plus version. The last thing that I wanted to point out about the Plus tier is that you now have full access to advanced voice mode. And advanced voice mode lets you use ChatGPT in a whole new way. You don't have to always text to get all your answers and converse with ChatGPT. You can now do it over your voice, hands-free, and get a conversation going with this PhD level AI. This will create a whole new experience of you having a sparring partner or someone to bounce ideas off of as you're looking to brainstorm, all hands-free. So, is the Plus version worth $20? My opinion, it definitely is worth $20. You can now code, you have access to the voice mode, you have access to all these different models. And if you are someone who is working somewhere and you use AI quite heavily, if you happen to be a writer or like a full-time hobbyist, and you really need some type of sparring partner, and you really need to like increase your usage and get your throughput on leveraging workflows and different tools, ChatGPT Plus is the right one for you. Now, here is the curveball. If you still do not have enough firepower for your AI needs, and you have a heavy duty reliance on AI, don't worry, I got you covered. ChatGPT Pro tier, which is $200 a month, has unlimited access to everything. It is literally like having AI in genius mode. And I won't lie to you, $200 a month is a big investment. But if you are someone who has to have heavy duty usage and super high performance and reliance on AI, this is the tier for you. Okay, let's jump into ChatGPT Pro and let's see what $200 a month gets you. All right, we're jumping into this right now. Let's go and see the type of models we have access to. Similar amounts of models. This one right here, this O3 Pro, is one that we did not have access to before. The O3 Pro is supposed to be literally the best and most advanced reasoning model that OpenAI has. So that's a pretty big deal. Still have 4.5, still have 4.1 and 4.1 mini. So similar models, but you get a chance to have the Pro model, the best reasoning model, most cutting edge model in the market. So let's go to the tools. You can still create images, you can still search the web, we still have write code, deep research. Folks, we went from the free tier having 5 opportunities of deep research in a month to the plus tier having 25. Now, with the pro tier, we can do deep research 250 times a month. That is literally insane. The amount of research you can do. You're running multiple things of research a day. So if you are someone who is like in the field, whether it's maybe healthcare or it's pharma and bio, or maybe it is something that happens to do with financial analysis, this is an opportunity for you to really get your bang for the buck. Still have Codex, you'll have way more power as you're doing coding tools. This other one is called Operator. Operator is a big deal. Why? Because you can now have it go do things for you, right? It can suggest a 30-minute meal with chicken that has 4.5 stars. It can reserve tickets for you. It has delivery, it has local services, shopping. Operator will go out and do things for you. I'm not gonna run it right now, but you do have the opportunity for it to book reservations for you, for it to like buy and find the most affordable passes for the Miami Grand Prix, sushi restaurant to snag us a spot for 2. So basically, Operator is supposed to be your personal assistant. It's gonna go on the internet, it will have access to all of your different accounts, and it will go do things on your behalf. Hopefully, I think long term, this is supposed to save you a ton of time, and eventually you would assume that like maybe OpenAI or maybe ChatGPT or maybe it's another app where it will have all these things that are potentially your personal assistants and all these agents going out and doing things, and you can just approve or deny, or you give feedback on every single little task that they do. This is really cool and really interesting. Operator is super dope. I need to try it out more, but this is the high level of Operator. You still have projects, you still have GPTs, you still have many of those same things. So are there other things that I can clearly talk to you about that show why Pro is even much better than the Plus? Of course, you know I got you. Number one, you have full unlimited access to every single model, and you have access to the O3 Pro model. Any of the O Pro models are only on, guess what? The Pro version. The best, most cutting edge reasoning models that are in the entire market. So if you want to have the super most high quality answers for any of your tasks, that 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, almost 12 out of 10 opportunity, this is the tier for you. And talking about response and availability, you will have priority over anyone else on the ChatGPT network. You will get all the first features, and you will be prioritized at the top of the stack anytime there are peak usage or any type of concession on ChatGPT. As I mentioned before, you have those 250 deep researches. That is insane. 250 is pretty wild. You can run 3, 4, 5 deep researches every single day. Okay, so who is the Pro version best for? My opinion is best for folks who are big time white collar professionals. If you have to do a ton of research, a ton of financial analysis, if you have to go digging and you have different tasks that need to be done, the Pro version is probably a good bang for your buck, right? Because you get the best reasoning and the best responses. You get priority on all your responses. You get access to all of the best models, the most cutting edge models, and you now have opportunity to test and try out Operator, which is your own personal assistant to go on the web and book and buy things for you, which we would assume, just as the models have, it will only get better and better as all the models get better. Now, choosing the best ChatGPT tier is not about how much money you're willing to spend. It's about what you actually need. The free plan is for casual users, which is actually surprisingly pretty robust. ChatGPT Plus is for folks who need more reliable and fast AI. These are folks like freelancers, small business owners, full-time students, full-time hobbyists. But if you're managing large-scale projects with a ton of data and research, the Pro plan can probably transform the way you do work, and that $200 a month price tag will probably earn you a pretty high ROI. And if you found value from this video, make sure you check out my recent video, which is 3 mind-blowing features on how to use Notebook LM.